Hello everyone, we are Art of War.
And we believe in creating a community where people can talk about, learn, and improve their skills at Warhammer 40k.
Our channel has live stream competitive matches of 40k, played by the best players in the world.
And we focus on teaching you how to get better at Warhammer, while also emphasizing sportsmanship and engagement with our audience.
We strive to play every faction in the game to a top level, while also using a variety of lists to show off different playstyles for every faction.
We also offer a variety of other videos such as codex reviews, faction rankings, tactics videos.
When you join our channel, you become part of our community, where we emphasize learning and positive conversation about competitive 40k.
You get early access to our videos, sub badges, emotes, as well as rewatch those hangout and hobby sessions.
Joining our community is a great way for you to show your support for us, so we can keep making awesome videos for you and continuously expand the bounds of competitive 40k.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Hangout and Hobby. I'm Richard Siegler.
I'm John Lennon.
The John.
The John Lennon.
We're here to talk 40k, Hangout, Hobby. I'm working on some new AdMech stuff. More Rangers, more Scutari.
More Scutari?
Right.
I mean...
There's a veteran cohort coming. Like,
yeah, the Scutari are getting better. So
they need to get better.
You might as well get this going. I'm going to be working on Sisters of Battle. Hopefully today we'll be finishing up the Sacrosanct that I've been working on, off and on for the past week or two. So hopefully we'll be putting the finishing touches there today, and that'll be another 2 units done for the Sisters of Battle.
John,
right.
If we're not getting the match with Jack this week, can we have a sneak peek of the Scars army you want to bring?
Oh man, I don't know what week we're going to get that match with Jack. That is literally up to Jack.
That is up to Jack.
That is up to Jack. However, I guess the sneak peek would be that it will almost certainly involve 2 units of Devastators. So I actually do need to paint up 1 squad because I need some multi-meltas. I need 3 multi-meltas for that army. And it will almost certainly involve a good old-fashioned Rhino. Not an Impulsor, a good old-fashioned Space Marine Rhino.
Grav Rhino?
Grav Rhino's coming back, folks. Grav Rhino with multi-meltas inside. I think that's the play. I think that's the move, and we'll see. we'll see what happens, and if Jack can stand before the Grav Rhino. Many have tried, many have died.
Is this replacing the attack bikes?
Yeah, they're gone. I didn't like them before, and I didn't know what to do. And I'm thinking it's a Grav Rhino. So we'll see what exactly that ends up looking like. But I think it's okay to get a little cheeky sometimes. And now seems like a good time to bust out the Grav Rhino. Yeah, I don't really know. White Scars are in an interesting spot where I still think they're very competitive, but they definitely have to make some changes to what they've been doing. And I think that's what it's going to end up looking like for me, is probably still keeping a good number of Vanguard veterans. Probably still keeping some Blade Guard in. Volkite Contemptors are still pretty cool, it turns out. But I want something else. And,
Redemptors?
Redemptors just don't really make sense to me in White Scars. Like, +1 damage doesn't help them at all. Advance and charge, like, you give up a lot of guns for advance and charge. So I don't love the idea of White Scar Redemptors. None of the buffs really synergize. I mean, you can theoretically, spend the CP to have a Redemptor advance and still shoot all of its stuff. But you can do that on any White Scar unit, and, there's no reason for that unit to be a Redemptor. Because the extra D6 inches don't really help, but it's a relatively long-range platform. So, I don't know. I'm not feeling Redemptors because I feel like they require a Librarian. And I don't want to go vehicle heavy with White Scars because once you go heavy on vehicles, why are you White Scars?
That's fair. So you don't like Jack's Black Templars with 2 Redemptors in there?
2 Redemptors. No, they have the Aurelian Shroud, which is a little bit of defense that White Scars don't get. So there's arguments to be made with the Jack Templars. But White Scars just doesn't feel right, if I'm being honest.
How's it going, Nurgle Matt? Congrats on being the top donor for the last month. Tell us what you want your stream
Oh
match
boy,
to be for
Nurgle
this
Matt. Oh, I am excited to see this.
It's been a little while, so I'm excited to see what you want to.
Welcome back, Nurgle Matt.
Obviously, we have a new campaign book coming up,
Yeah, there's going to be all
Orcs are
kinds of
coming.
exciting things.
so plenty of
Yeah,
new
we're-
matchups to show up on stream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're expecting that we'll have the campaign rules by the end of the week, right? Should be getting them this weekend as NDAs run up.
Yes, people's previews come up.
So hopefully we'll have some nice high quality pictures by this weekend, and if not, hopefully we'll be getting them soon after.
Oh, we'll dive into low quality ones too. No problem.
Yeah, that's you know what, that's a fair point. Low quality, high quality. We'll bust out like the the CSI like photo editing where we take like the very grainy picture and we're like magnify the image and all of a sudden it's crystal clear. It's like, oh yeah, just like that, huh? You just gotta like ask them to magnify the image and it's just perfect. Oh gosh, I wish it worked that way. Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited to hear what Nurgle got in mind.
Are there ever enough Scutari? The answer is no. Games Workshop wants more Scutari on the board. They want them to be even better.
Manny won an event with 120 Scutari this weekend.
120.
Yeah, that was that was the number he settled on. The most you can fit in a battalion.
Was he running them as Lucius?
I believe he was running them as Lucius. But then I think he also still had like a little Mars detachment, and that's just a lot of Scutari. That may be too much Scutari for me. I don't know.
It's hard to hide that much Scutari.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think hiding them was actually his game plan.
Yeah.
If I were to take a guess based on the list, I would say hiding was not what he was going for.
Their defense isn't amazing once they don't have any buffs on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm nervous about running that many.
I don't blame you, but it seemed to work out for him. Let's see here.
Need your help with Tau. Went to my local RTT. Managed to lose all my games with Farsight. Are you available for a strategy session in the upcoming days? There is a ton of really detailed information on my Farsight list and how it should be played. So if you want those details, the number one place is in the War Room. I just did a Tau clinic last week with Mr. Brad Chester. And if you're a YouTube member, you can actually watch that one through the YouTube channel. So you can check that out. I did a podcast episode. Episode 1 is on here on this YouTube channel from about 2 weeks ago. And then if you want all the parts, you could sign up to the podcast and get the second part, which talks about the matchups and overall strategy into those matchups. And then you can also check out the War Room games that I've played with Farsight Enclaves, including Into Drakari, which was about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
That was a really good one to watch.
So, yeah, it was a great game. John was enjoying it. The Remors did lots of work.
I very much enjoyed that game.
So if you watch me play, if you listen to all the tips that I have, you'll kind of get a sense. At the end of the day, it's all about points. I'll keep reiterating that. It's all about the points at the end of the day. So the decision is killing your points. Go for the points.
Mm-hmm. Did that guy lose something?
He lost a little bit of his gun.
Ah. Pity.
It's okay. It'll glue back on.
Alrighty.
Ooh. All right. When are orcs getting released?
I wish. Boy, do I wish we knew.
But it's probably this month. They said, didn't they say?
They said July, but they also said April was Admech, so you know, you don't want to take that too far. Thing with GWs, you never know if what they mean is the release date or the pre-order date. For all we know, they're going to pre-order on July 31st, which is entirely possible.
In July.
And it's like, yeah, coming out in July. I don't know what you're talking about. We're like, oh, okay, but actually. So we'll see on that one. I am very excited to read the Orc Codex. I'm not much of an Orc player myself, so I don't imagine I'll be the one taking them on the table. But you know, it's going to be interesting to see what the next book is like, because Admech and Drakari felt like they were designed a very certain way, and then Sisters felt a little different. And I don't know if that means that Sisters was the aberration and Orcs are going to be right like Admech and Drakari, or if, you know, Admech and Drakari were kind of like the hump, and we're working our way back down a little bit, which I would much prefer for that to be the case. That's just me. I don't want any more.
I think this morning Games Workshop posted that they're going to be doing orc previews this week.
Yeah, on Saturday they are previewing the Octarius something, and all the indications are that it's I don't know what it is. It might be a box set, it might be a campaign, but there's some release coming up about Octarius, and there've been a lot of hints as to like what is actually going to be in it. They definitely mentioned orcs because they said there was going to be some, you know, even meaner green stuff coming. So that's orcs. The White Dwarf for next month has Tyranids on the cover, and it talks about Leviathan, High Fleet Leviathan specifically in the White Dwarf, and mentioning them as being involved in whatever this Octarius event is. So involving Tyranids and Orcs makes me think that this is a campaign, but I guess it could be a box set. Although I frankly don't think it's going to be a box set because we already know that there's a solo orc box set coming up, so it would make sense to have a solo orc box set and then an orc versus faction box set kind of coming at the same time.
More box sets.
Yeah, I like box sets. I mean, they're generally good value, so I wouldn't be opposed. But I'm guessing it's a campaign book where maybe Warzone Carried On was just a 2-part, kind of like Vigilus. And instead of, going into more codexes, there's going to be, although there will be no codex as well, but maybe they're going right into another campaign series of 1 or 2 books there. Which would be very interesting. And then, to provide further mystery in their little countdown, where they post like an art piece on their website, and it's like 5 days until this release. The kind of the background is a little loose sketch of a guardsman in a gas mask, and probably Krieg, could be Armageddon, like the Steel Legion. Which with orcs, again, I wouldn't be shocked if Armageddon somehow was involved here. But either way, if there is some kind of love coming for ye old Imperial Guard, I would be very happy. Like, what if there was like a supplement for Armageddon Steel Legion? Because that's one of those super iconic looking, guard regiments.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely love to see that coming for Guard. I also would love to see new rules for Tyranids. That is an army that really could use a bit of a boost. So if they were to get that, I would be very, very happy. And that I would be excited to play. Everyone knows that I love my Tyranids, but also everyone knows that I usually only play them when they have competitive tools. I don't think that's right now. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what exactly that's going to be. There's kind of been rumors of like Plastic Krieg, but it's one of those things like Plastic Sisters of Battle or Plastic Thunderhawks, where it was rumored for like literally years.
Yeah.
And like every like 6 months it'd be like, oh, Plastic Sisters of Battle are coming. And it didn't turn out that they were coming until, like 2019, even though those rumors were happening for like the 5 years before that. So I don't really know if Plastic Krieg are coming. But
They still sell Krieg, unfortunately, right?
I think they stopped selling them.
Really?
I know they stopped selling Elysians.
Yeah,
I would have to check on Krieg actually. So maybe it's plastic. Literally any plastic guardsman. I don't care which regiment it is. I would just go buy 100.
We got a $10 super chat from Matt. Oh, hey all. Hope you had a good 4th. Thoughts about taking an anti-horde Exorcist to weaken the out-of-line of sight Skitarii troops? Mr. Harpester's point about reducing the size of ranger blocks was very interesting. Thank you so much for your support, Matt. John, Exorcist.
That is an interesting one, just because of the blast. It's not a bad point. Actually, honest to goodness,
what's the profile?
Let me check the profile. My recollection is that it's 3d6 blast, pretty good range, strength
3d6?
5, AP2 damage 1. Yeah, 3d6.
So 18 shots.
So it'd be 18 shots in this example. Let's go ahead and check the strength and AP of that gun. My recollection is strength 5, AP2, damage 1. But let me find out about this. It doesn't. I don't hate the idea. I'm just worried about how useful it is overall. Okay, I was wrong. I don't. Goodness. Yep, I was wrong. It's AP1. But it ignores cover. So theoretically, you're shooting at a non-buffed Skitarii squad, so they just have cover at best, which you're ignoring.
Yep.
So 18 shots.
+1 saving throw for damage 1.
Yeah, of course. So 18 shots, you're going to get about 12 hits. You've got an Ardent Shroud reroll, which I think you're going to save for the wound roll. So 18 shots, 12 hits. You get about 8 wounds. You reroll 1 of them. So it ends up being like 8.6.
Just say 9.
Call it 9. 9 wounds. And then I'm AP1. This is not the squad that ignores AP1, but they are getting +1 of their saves. So you're calling it 4.5 dead Skitarii. So 4 or 5. Again, we already rounded up a little bit on the 8.6, so it's really closer to 4. 2 CP and an Exorcist to kill 4 or 5 unbuffed Skitarii feels terrible to me. Because it's 2 CP and an Exorcist. And this is the job you're taking it for, and let's be honest here, there's a lot of situations that aren't this. And like against Dark Eldar, like, you know, how useful is this thing? So, oof. I wish that was gonna end up being a little better, to be honest.
What would you need? Like 8? 8 Scutari?
Yeah, if I could, I mean, 7 or 8, yeah. Killing 7 or 8 Scutari is a good investment of my time. Scutari are a little too durable in general for the points, I think.
No, I mean,
But
that's why we have the veteran cohort coming.
That's why we have the veteran cohort.
Who knows what's going to be in there?
I'm sure that's going to actively be nerfing Scutari right there. Yeah.
What other rules could they give Scutari to make them even better? Like,
You know what?
I can only imagine what's actually in there.
Why are they only damage 1? Right?
+1 damage aura.
1 CP pre-game, they go to 2 wounds each. I mean, come on. Like, think of the possibilities here.
I don't want to.
You know, you don't want to watch Scutari just
No, I think they're good enough. They don't need any more buffs. Let's buff some other factions.
Tyranids and Tau.
Yeah. GSC.
GSC. I've given up on GSC.
No, come on.
That's not true. I'm not. I'm just waiting in the shadows.
Crisis bodyguards with airbursts.
I mean, you've run them in the past and you've liked them. Just
Yeah,
right now you're feeling missiles.
Right now I'm feeling missiles because I actually think the last chicken. You just get rid of the last chickens, and then you actually play a very combat-oriented game against Admech.
That would be a fun match to watch.
But,
Tau versus Admech.
Still not easy.
No. Certainly not easy.
But airbursts are a little too weak into the other matchups, I think.
Yeah. Also, being damage 1 does have some downsides right about now.
Yeah. But it is a crazy amount of volume.
Mm-hmm.
With the just max shots against Scutari units.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're just forcing so many saves. But at the end of the day, I think I would rather be able to interact better with the rest of their army and kill that stuff and try and just tie down the Scutari for as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys takes on the Goonhammer July meta watch? Blood Angels 29% win rate makes me cry.
Ouch.
29?
I have not read the
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's
29?
abysmal. I have not yet read the Goonhammer meta report.
There's no 29?
I mean, we knew Blood Angels were bad.
That's terrible though. That's definitely worse than Tau.
Yeah, that is much worse than Tau. You know, Jack said he had some ideas for the Blood Angels, and he's actually playing them on Thursday on YouTube. So hopefully he can do something better than that. I mean, and consider that Jack went 3-0 with Blood Angels in June, and they're still at 29%. That's really bad. Yeah, that's not what you like.
They definitely didn't need the points increases.
No, God, no. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I could in December if you had suggested to me Blood Angels get a points increase, I would have thought it was a little unnecessary, but I wouldn't have been like mad about it. It would have been like, okay, like, you know, I didn't think they were the ones that needed it, but you know, they're pretty good. But like right now, it's just like, what is happening?
Heinous.
Like, oh man, that's painful. No way around it.
How's it going, Terry? Hope you are doing well.
What's up, Terry?
Question for John: are Storm Speeders usable in Ravenwing?
100%.
So, is there one that's better than the others?
Oh man. So there's the Hail Strike, the Hammer Strike, and the Thunder Strike. And I know that the Hail Strike is the 130.1, and that's the one that I think is the least useful. Because it's too close in its role to a Talonmaster, and a Talonmaster has some very obvious benefits over the Storm. However, I do think that both the Thunder Strike and the Hammer Strike are very viable. I have one Storm Speeder, and I'm hoping to get a second so that I can paint up 2 of them and use them in a future Ravenwing matchup. But I'm thinking that I want to say it's the Thunder Strike, which is the most expensive one at 155. Whatever the one that's 155 is my favorite, because it is Ballistic Skill 2. And if I'm not going to be core, I would really like to be Ballistic Skill 2. Just never, because, I mean, it's one thing to, you know, hit on 4s and have some rerolls, but if you take any kind of a hit modifier, and then you're hitting on 4s without rerolls, like, this unit is literally just, you know, you're just pulling a slot machine as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's like the Manticores, where you don't even pretend that you're going to get consistency out of them. So I really like Ballistic Skill 2. I'll be hitting on 3s at worst, as long as I can keep it, you know, full health. So I think Storm Speeders are viable. I would love to try them out in the future. I really want to try Ravenwing list that has 2 of them in it.
Which one has Brother Tinnitus?
I think Brother Tinnitus is the Hail Strike, which is, in my opinion, the worst for Dark Angels because it's a weight of fire. It's like a Strength 5 AP 1 weight of fire one, but like also I just have the Talonmaster.
Yeah.
So as long as I have the Talonmaster, it's like that's going to be the land speeder I'm
Brother
taking.
Tinnitus doesn't live in a land speeder.
No, he
in
is
a
not a
Talonmaster.
lieutenant. He is not a lieutenant. He's just.
And he probably won't make it to lieutenant.
He probably will not. He's not very good at following orders.
With the amount of ear damage he's taking.
Yeah, he's learning sign language though to try to move up through the ranks. Who was our other top donor last month? I know Nergomat took home one of those.
I believe it was Matto.
Matto?
Matto.
All right.
And I believe I messaged you, Matt. And if I didn't, I apologize. But let us know what you want your stream match to be. I know we still have waiting in the wings the Tyranids versus Drukari.
Yep, that one's just kind of on hold until we get the rest of those Drukarian, which will hopefully be soon. But until then...
We got Matt Laura with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Matt. First team, 3-person event soon. I'm captain. How do you build a list for these events compared to normal? Also, I got Word Bearer's top tier screenshot.
Oh, Matt.
Oh, Matt, don't hang
We did it. We did it for you. We did it for you. I'm sure that when they just reprint the Word Bearers rules in the new book with no changes at all, I'm sure that's what they need to get to top tier. Real talk, my thought process with 3-man teams, and
You just played a 3-man team.
I just played a 3-man team, is that it's not like other team events and it's closer to individual games where I think you want very take-all-comer lists, and you're unlike normal teams, you try to make a something to soak it up. I think you're just trying to win games. So I think you want the kinds of lists that are going to be able to grind out wins consistently. You don't need the flashy, I'm going to get 100 points, and you don't need the, the big, like, bricks that are like, no matter what you do, I'm going to get 80, so it's okay if you get 90. I think you're looking for lists that grind out wins as take-all-comer as possible. That would be my strategy if, if I was going into a 3-man team right now.
What would you bring? Admech, Drukari, and Sisters?
I might bring Marines. I really still like Marines. And you can kind of get one army to avoid one bad matchup in 3-man teams. So I think I would take Admech and Drukari. And I just kind of like... see, like, Admech, Drukari, and Space Marines, if I'm being honest. I think where that would go. Sisters are very good, but right now I think I feel a little more confident in my Space Marines. Just because I already know exactly where they need to be. Although maybe some Order Martyred Lady help will make me want to take some Sisters to a team tournament in the future.
Let's see. What do you think about the Black Templars combo with Impulsors?
Oh, the
I know
devout push after you get out?
Yeah, I remember you were big on that early on.
Yeah, in practice it wasn't actually necessary because if you just devout pushed in your turn, in your opponent's turn, you were kind of getting the movement to just advance and charge and get there anyway. And then, because you don't fight first, it's not as valuable. And then you don't get the shock assault bonus as well. So, and also Black Templars have a ton of good command phase stuff. So I found that it wasn't actually nearly as necessary as it sounded, where it sounded like it was amazing. But then in practice, it really just was not very impressive. Because we tried it a lot when Jack was first playing Black Templars. We tried some of those tricks. We put on the table a couple times and just... It's one of those things that sounds good, but until you put it on the table. But Black Templars do have a lot of other cool stuff, so it didn't feel bad that it didn't make the final cut. There were better things to take in our experience.
The Terminators are pretty...
Yeah, I'm really excited for Jack to get those Terminators on the table. I think they're super strong.
You got me 3 times with the I'm just gonna make every feel no pain on this flat damage 4.
Yeah, that's the classic right there.
It's brutal.
It's channeling his inner neck.
The Telemon was a hero though. He just stood in combat for like 4 turns, 4 phases.
That's what a Telemon
He's
does.
just like no.
I know what happens when I get in combat with the Telemon. I need to figure out how to fall back and still do something relevant, or I need to accept that I'm there for a while. These are my choices.
Which Marines though?
Which Marines? Honestly, team event, I'm still rocking Ultras. end of the day, I love those Ultramarines. Black Templars are certainly viable. If I had more practice, I might consider it. Or maybe if Jack was playing, the Space Marines on this theoretical 3-man teams, or, someone else with some good Black Templar experience, then perhaps Black Templars. But me personally, I think I'd still rock the Ultras. I just love how they play. It would not be Blood Angels, though. Just to...
It wouldn't be Blood Angels?
Yeah, I don't want to hurt your feelings.
You don't want to give yourself a challenge?
Not that bad. Not that badly.
29% win rate, John.
You know what? Now that they're worse than Ultramarines, maybe it's time for me to pick the Blood Angels. They're just waiting for the proper opportunity to strike here. Man, poor Blood Angels. I did not realize it was that bad. I honestly, if you had asked me to guess the Blood Angel win rate, I honestly would have guessed like between... I would have guessed 40, 45. Yeah,
I would have guessed low 40.
Because like...
They're still Marines.
They're still Marines.
They have a good secondary.
Yeah, they do. They have a good secondary. Like they're a little one-dimensional, but still Marines. And I feel like Blood Angels can really beat up a lot of like the mid-tier armies just by like overpowering them with like, you can't actually kill all these jump pack guys at once.
Yeah. And
then you just lose. So like I don't
they're good at giving you 0/0s on primary.
Yeah, that's another thing. But apparently it is not to be.
They just lost so many tricks.
They did. They did. Yeah, it's not what you want.
Yeah, you had some really good rules in 8th edition. How about if we just took every single one of them away and didn't replace them with good stuff? It's like the best thing that they got was a Flesh Terror relic that lets a Terminator character advance in charge.
Is that the only way to get advanced in charge in that?
Yep.
One? There isn't a warlord trait?
Nope.
There used to be a warlord trait?
No.
Okay. Still, you feel bad for him. It's not what you want. Ooh, we got a super chat from Whistling Bird.
5-year super chat from Whistling Bird. Why isn't vehicle spam viable in the meta, in your opinion? Hashtag Manta Fund. Appreciate you, Whistling Bird. Now, vehicle spam, are you talking about just an army that's entirely made of vehicles? Because, the Space Marine list that we're seeing right now are, they're like 3 Redemptors and like a bunch of Volkite and 2 Volkite Contemptors. Like
most Space Marine lists right now have 5+ vehicles, which isn't necessarily spam.
No.
I think my Ultramarine list actually has 8 vehicles in it.
Yeah.
That's getting close. But I don't know. I think it's viable right now. It's just that anytime you go to extreme, you run the risk of playing against that Sisters player that still has all the multi-meltas. Someone who bought an Admech army.
I think that's the biggest thing, is even though Bring It Down got worse in the sense that for a vehicle spam army, you're not giving up as many points, so your opponents still might not even take it, which was a boon to them.
Mm-hmm.
I still think at the end of the day, the anti-tank guns have gotten, except for Necrons, increasingly better and brutal. Like Lash Chickens, Dark Lances, Multi-Meltas, of course. It's all over the meta. You look at the top armies in the game, the Space Marine list, you got, Ravenwing up there, you've got Admech, Drukhari, it all has tons of damage that's very good into vehicles for the most part. And most vehicles that you want to spam don't have invulns, or they have to, do a couple other things to get an invuln.
What about the Necron Arcing Lot?
Arcing Lot?
The Arcing Lot.
Now, you can get OBSEC on the Arcing Lot.
However, that helps.
The Arcing Lot does 0 damage.
That's
pretty much.
So
it's either wildly inconsistent with the Doomsday arcs, or it's the Ghost arcs really just don't.
I don't think 0 damage is fair. It just it does not do reliable damage.
It doesn't do reliable damage, and if you look at the best list right now, they do a tremendous amount of damage in 2 phases.
Mm-hmm.
In shooting and combat, typically, some do an outrageous amount of shooting damage primarily, but you're gonna lose enough arcs because the whole thing is. Only one of them is getting to use the quantum shielding strat for the 4-up invuln.
One of the big problems.
So they force you early to pop that, then they just start targeting every other one down. They could still probably focus that one down, no problem. There's a lot of reroll wounds in the game right now. Like the best armies have quite a bit of access to it.
Definitely Space Marines.
So that's very tough for them as well. And like I said, they're not doing a tremendous amount of damage to you. The Necron army is just taking your full firepower pretty much turn after turn. Mm-hmm. Nothing is that durable.
Yeah, we tried, I think one of the earliest test games for the Ultramarines actually ended up being.
Yeah.
And it was an early version of the Ultramarines. It wasn't even the final form. that was the Necrons. And even with Ultramarines going second, we very quickly could tell that the damage output was just not.
There's no rerolls. It's just bad.
Yes.
Just bad.
Yeah. It was just not. It was not the same tier.
I got 18 shots on the 3 Tesseract arcs, and I didn't kill a Contemptor Dread. That felt great.
Baby lived.
Yeah,
Can't let the tell you.
like
My boy lives.
you can't do anything about that. I mean, the Ghost wasn't doing anything either. It was just bad.
The worst part is like when I thought about the math, like it wasn't even that likely to, like it only took like a couple swings.
Well, no, it's not likely that I get 18 shots.
Yeah. But like with 18 shots,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, it's like an average of 12 hits and then 8 wounds. And then like
5 go through.
Then like 5 go through, and I think what ended up
D6
happening
damage,
was
baby.
I think what ended up happening was 3 went through. And then on 3d6 with -1 damage, you ended up doing like 7 or 8 wounds.
Yeah.
Which is honestly like doing 11 damage on 3d6, which sounds perfectly average. But I think it was just like one less wound here, 1 extra save here, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, that's 8 wounds.
That's where you feel these weapon updates.
Yeah.
So that could have been flat 3 plus T3.
That's a dead dreadnought right there.
The inconsistency makes me really nervous about that type of vehicle army because the armies in the game are just picking things up. You're just getting picked up. You can't not do enough damage.
Damage output is crazy right now.
Yeah, there's the armies in the game. The last one I think existed was that Beast of Nurgle list. It just can't.
No, we've tried.
Just doesn't exist.
Nick really put in he tried to make that one last as long as he could, and he has conceded the point.
As soon as he got the Beast of Nurgle, to be clear.
Yeah, the second he got the Beast of Nurgle, I was like, oh.
Gave up on that dream.
Yeah. I think offense is too high for defense to be your playing. The only defense that works right now is the bodyguard. Because you can't math defensive buffs as well as you can math out offensive buffs right now.
We get a £9 super chat from Matt. Hey guys, saw the Emperor Spears got a 2nd place in a tournament last week on Goonhammer. Are there any other the White Dwarf Space Marine chapters that you think may have some play?
So right now there's only 2, and it's the Emperor's Spears and the Exorcists. And of those 2, I think the Emperor's Spears are the clear winner. However, do not despair, folks. There's something coming up. I believe it's the Dark Krakens are getting something in the White Dwarf that's coming up. The Dark Krakens, whose name I did not. The Dark Krakens, who I did not just make up, wink wink, are a Salamander successor, and they're fighting Tyranids in a mission, like a crusade mission thing that's in this White Dwarf. But then there's 6 pages of Dark Krakens afterwards, and we don't really know what's in that other than that there's a data sheet for a random named character who I guarantee is a Primaris captain that they took like an Age of Sigmar elf weapon and put on instead. Guaranteed that's what it is. But yeah, I don't
lieutenant?
It might be.
They do love their lieutenants.
Yeah, but this isn't like a new kit. It's just a like they did this. Oh no, sorry. There's 3 chapters. There's the Tome Keepers as well, but it's not the Tome Keepers either. I promise. It's the Emperor Spears. We'll see what happens with the Dark Krakens. I'm excited to find out. I love my obscure Space Marine chapters. I haven't dabbled with Salamanders yet. So if the Dark Krakens get some good, relevant, cool-looking rules, I would 100% play some Dark Krakens. I need to get the Infinity Gauntlet of Space Marine chapters. I haven't got Salamanders yet. Yes, release the Kraken. I mean, Krakens are, as far as mythical creatures go, Krakens are pretty great.
But what about a Dark Kraken?
The Dark Kraken sounds even better.
What's their homeworld, John?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely not. You didn't even know they existed. I didn't.
Well, no.
I didn't know they were a chapter until this
know
morning. I didn't know they were a chapter until this morning.
If
They haven't really had much lore at all.
I'm going to just purge them from the records just to get them out of here.
No, they're dark. I'm going to go beat Nick with Dark Krakens. Every time we get a White Dwarf update, I'm just going to like bust out a Space Marine chapter for one go, take it against Nick, see what happens.
What's the best rule that Emperor Spears has?
Their successor traits are not bad. It's Whirlwind of Rage and +1 advance and charge. But the best thing is that they have a relic that lets you can put it on a chaplain or librarian, and it lets you reroll any chants or spells that you cast. In my opinion, their best thing though is that they have a 1 CP +1 to wound in combat for infantry, And, you know, when you take the Ultramarine list that you're making mostly shooty, but there's like a little bit of that melee by committee element to it, that really helps out. And that's something I don't have in my Ultramarines, is the +1 to wound, but I still, you know, the melee by committee worked out enough that I didn't feel that I needed, and I wanted Master Artisans instead. But that is a very cool way to just be a better Blood Angel army if you don't want to. If you want to win 30% or more of your games, take Emperor Spears. Just red. The Emperor's red spears. You have my permission to run your Blood Angels as Emperor Spears. I'm excited about Dark Krakens. I think they actually have kind of cool looking models. Let's find out what the Emperor Spears look like, shall we? Or the Dark Krakens.
The Dark Krakens.
Don't you want to know?
I want to know where their fortress monastery is located, John.
All right. Well, you know what? I will find out more about the Dark Krakens for you. All right. Their colors are black and purple. Look at that for like a logo. That's kind of cool.
That's a Kraken.
That's a Kraken. I don't know. That's a good looking logo.
I'm gonna interrupt this because Nergomat's being Nergomat in the chat. And he just
trying to find their home.
Well,
world.
he just super chatted
Oh my
$77.77 because the number of Nurgle and said AdMech machine smash. I love it. We love it too, I especially. But Nurgle, Matt, please tell us what you would like your stream match to be. If you want it to be the new Mechanicum cohort, once we get those rules, I'm happy to put it on the table against whatever you prefer. If you want to see me smash up some chaos with AdMech, I'm happy to do it. Haven't had the chance with new AdMech rules just yet.
These are really cool looking Marines. Black with like purple arms, purple gun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's I like it. Okay, so they're from. I was like gonna joke and say they're from Noctis. They're from Nactus. Nactus. The Dark Kraken's oceanic and night-bathed homeworld of Nactus only boasts one landmass capable of supporting a fortress monastery. Nactus's vast seas are replete with bioluminescent megafauna and shoal predators, which the native human population hunt for sport and nourishment. So bioluminescent krakens. Oh, you could do some really cool. Like, what if you like had like a black land raider or like a repulsor, and then you like painted a bioluminescent kraken on the side? That would be awesome.
What was that word you used? Land Raider?
Yeah,
Okay.
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
I just need a large flat surface here. You know, we'll make it a Storm Maiden. However, the Crusade like mission pack thing, it's very narrative, by the way. It's just not match play missions that are in this White Dwarf are about how to fight an underwater battle between Space Marines and Tyranids. And I don't know what kind of special rules are in this, but I think we should try to convince Nick that they're match play. Like,
just start using them.
Just start using them. Like, so we'll say, like, yeah, Nergomat requested that we do Space Marines versus Tyranids. You're playing the Tyranids, John's on the Space Marines. And, oh, by the way, John's using new White Dwarf rules for the Dark Krakens. So now everything moves half speed and can only see 18 inches because they're underwater.
Emperor Spears versus AdMech?
You know what? Put me in, coach.
We will do that if you're serious about it.
If you're serious about it.
He put a winky face, so.
I love Emperor Spears. They're really cool. Everyone knows I love my Ultramarine successors right now.
It's a good way to get them on the table.
Was there something new put on the... Or are you just looking at it?
They said that FAQ was updated.
Oh.
So let's see. There it is. Codex
Mechanicus. All right, live reaction time, folks.
Here we go. All right, first thing. Verse of Vengeance. Until the start of your next command phase, each time model in that unit is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy model.
What is Verse of Vengeance
anyway? I forget what
anyway?
Verse of Vengeance is, honestly.
Do you want me to get the book?
Yeah, let's get the book.
All right. Oh, booster thrust? Hold on.
Yep, a unit cannot be selected for the stratagem if it was set up on the battlefield this turn.
Well, that's
nice, clean fix. I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Yep.
And then they stopped the Tech Priest Manipulus from being able to just keep stacking the
extra
extra
Cataphragm Destroyers don't ignore heavy anymore. I mean, they do, but they don't ignore heavy anymore.
Delete the heavy battle server ability for heavy servers.
Yeah.
They were already on the bottom. Honegger's got data tether. They fixed the transport capacity, and then Wrath of Mars.
6.
Yep. No more than 6 mortals can be caused as a result of it.
Okay. And then the Manipulus doesn't stack, which no one, absolutely no one played it that it could. But,
All right.
All right, you know, do we want to find out what the Verse of Vengeance is?
Verse of Vengeance.
Let me grab that book.
It's on page 53. If clandestine...
I guarantee it's going to be a Crusade one.
There's always one crusade rule. All right, John's gonna grab the book. That's a all right. So you want a Nurgle mat? It's done. Emperor Spears versus Admech. It's happening. I will run I'll run a different list for Admech and see if I can come up with something else. Maybe I'll run Styches. And somebody said Styches went 5-0 last weekend. So maybe I'll try out a Styches build. All right. I believe it's on the side of the table, John. He's going to grab the codex right now. Because I am honestly not sure what Verse of Vengeance is. Filling the Iron Strike, filling the Dune Riders with tacticals and primaries in the same transport. I'm surprised they didn't fix it to Secretary, though. Did they not do that? No, yeah, they switched it to just Forge World infantry models. So they didn't even change it so you could bring Secretary in there.
Yeah. Who even needs those guys?
No, they're not anymore.
They're a bunch of nerds.
Alright, page 53.
Guaranteed Crusade. Play it on me.
No, it's not. It's
No?
the Agrippina.
Oh.
It's the Agrippina Warlord trait. Which, in your command page, you select a friendly Agrippina core unit within 6 of the Warlord. Each time a model in that unit is destroyed by an attack by an enemy model, you roll a d6. On a 4-up, then you get to shoot or fight. So they're changing the second sentence, which is each time a model in that unit is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy model, roll a d6. And until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy model. So, I guess technically this was permanent.
Oh, I see.
In your command phase.
Alright. It sounds like it was for technicalities that none of us were bothered to explore.
In your command phase, you would select it on the first sentence, and the second time the effect would just last forever, I guess. As well.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I'm glad they addressed that.
I'm glad they stopped Agrippina from being broken. That's good.
Consistent.
That's fine.
Okay. So I think everything that just happened was exactly what we would expect.
Yeah, I think everything was reasonable. I mean, definitely wasn't intended that the Manipulus would just get you. If you brought 3 Manipulus, here's my AP4 Ranger unit.
That's what I wanted. The double stack and Manipulus to get around, ignore AP2
Yeah.
Rangers. That was the
It's
ultimate card counter.
Is an Admech hard counter, so that's out of the way. The transport, I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah, and I also, there's been some discussion about whether or not Admech will need a balance update. I think no one was expecting it the first time around. Same as Dark Eldar. Dark Eldar got an FAQ that really just made things make sense if they were inconsistently written. And then there was a second one for balance once that was deemed necessary. I imagine that's exactly what's going to happen with Admech, and they haven't decided whether or not it's necessary. Or if they have, they're playtesting what it'll be like. But
yeah, and it took them a while to do Drukhari.
It took them a while to do Drukhari, so I'm
Drukhari were
personally...
putting like a crazy 80+% win rate up.
Admech hasn't been quite that bad, but also I feel like we haven't had many... I mean, like, we haven't had many events.
Yep.
Where there was a lot of events right before Admech started being played, and then it was kind of like everyone's taking a deep breath. Although last weekend, Admech had some really good showings.
Yeah.
And Admech did have the highest win rate of the past weekend, but it was almost all RTTs.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm sure they will revisit it if the other books, like if we see Orcs, they're more Sisters level. And the following code, like Grey Knights, Thousand Suns, are also the same
Which
level.
Which is what I'm hoping for. I think Sisters level is the actual goal.
I'm sure Admech will get toned down a bit like Drukhari did.
Yeah. Wouldn't mind that.
However, I think totally vindicated not running the Taraxi last week, and
there you go.
They're not a damage dealing unit really.
And they're
still a decent mission playing tool. I still prefer infiltrators, honestly. It's nice to have something deep strike, but if you bring a Lucius and you throw some servitors in there, you can just do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you'll be seeing 10-man bricks at Taraxi anymore.
No, I don't expect
on really dense terrain, maybe, and they do it a couple times.
I mean, start them on the board. You start them on the board and they advance forward and flame someone and then leave.
And then they leave, and then they'll come down back in your backfields and do the same thing like turn 4.
Yeah.
But I still don't think that's worth almost 200 points.
It's definitely no longer the auto take that it was considered.
Well, it was especially auto because you would be able to resolve your engage or retrieve Octarius points and then come up.
Yep. That sure is what you did.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see.
That was what happened.
So that is fine with me.
Yeah,
No issues whatsoever with the FAQ.
No.
It's all reasonable, and we got it in a reasonable amount of time too.
Yeah, I think it's about 5 weeks, which has seemed to be their MO. Because I think AdMech came out the very end of May, like May 29th, if memory serves.
Yep.
So yeah, happy with that. That's good. Yeah. On the one hand, I think it was kind of a bare minimum FAQ, but also they did go out and meet the minimum, and I think none of us were really expecting them to go above and beyond on it either.
No,
Because that's not what they've been doing for Ninth.
No. If they didn't do it for Drukhari, I did not expect it here.
Yeah. Or even remember, like, with Space Marines, where they didn't FAQ the Invader ATVs until, like, several...
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, a couple months after. Like, I think they waited until, like, the January update to kind of knock down the ATVs.
I think so, yeah. So they've been more patient this time, which I am not the biggest fan of just the patented triple nerf. Because they never revisit it. It just stays there for the edition.
Yeah.
Which
Although, to be fair, some of the Iron Hand stratagems actually went back down in cost. Remember when, like, they went out and FAQ'd a bunch of the Iron Hand stratagems to cost 2 or 3 CP? A couple of them have gone back down.
Which one was it? The Overwatch?
The Overwatch on 4s, I think.
Did the deny one?
I think that one's still at 2.
It's expensive.
Yeah. And the Overwatch on 4s one is okay because now you have to spend 1 to Overwatch on 4s.
I think that's totally
reasonable. And then spend 1 to Overwatch, yeah. I hate that. That's one of the things that I really hope gets fixed. Is like
all these
all the Overwatch on 5s strats. I think they need to be 0 CP because you have to Overwatch to use it. Like the guard Overwatch on 5s, like all right, I would definitely spend 1 to Overwatch on 5s instead of 6s, but I don't know if I want it.
$5 super chat from Matt. Oh, Dark Krakens are Primaris only, John. No mini marine stuff allowed, so get that Land Raider out of there.
You know,
Not like we would have seen it in the first
they
place.
have... No, not that we were going to see it anyway. GW has failed to include that in the rules sections of some chapters in the past, so we'll see if they actually put rules in for them to be all Primaris, or if they just kind of let it happen. However, I would love... I'd love to see some Dark Krakens.
Well,
They're just a cool looking chapter.
There's some requests for AdMech versus Drukhari in the chat. Well, guess what? We are doing it in the War Room this week. Mr. Nick Nanavati is returning from vacation just in time for my AdMech force to drop an absolute bomb on that man.
Yep.
He has no idea.
He has been living blissfully.
He got a taste of my pure Mars first try list. Now we're bringing the real stuff.
Yeah, gosh darn it.
Get ready for 27 Cerberus Raiders.
27.
27.
Casual 27.
Just a casual 20. Just not even that many points.
You think you're gonna have 27 for Thursday?
9 of them are going to be the Sulphur Hounds.
Oh, okay.
But they're going to be on the same basis and look similar enough.
It's called, yeah, that's good. Yep.
I have all the ponies.
Oh my goodness.
I thought they were great in 8th edition. I still think they're amazing. I think they're even better, honestly.
They very well may be.
That 5 pinball.
That 5 pinball gets really frickin' annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I was shooting Malthus at you, it was just like...
It's just not... Like, Jack did the same thing.
Yeah. It just was not working the way I thought it would.
You just make couple extra ones and just like, whoops. Well, you also rolled 1 damage 3 separate times.
Okay, yes, but that's...
that didn't help.
It didn't help. I did not get baited into CP rerolling it, though. Like, every time I, like, stared at it for a second, I'm like, nope, CP discipline.
Well, you're, like, looking over there having 1 CP.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, there's a reason I didn't. If I had 10 CP, sure. But, like,
yeah,
that's not the life I live. I'm a minimalist.
When you talk about your sister's revelation today, because that's actually pretty interesting.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. So,
as he's painting the sisters.
Yeah, well, I'm stubborn. What can I say? So, a little bit of a revelation is that someone actually pointed this out to me. But in the rulebook, under the dedicated transport section, it says that if you disembark from a transport, even if you don't move afterwards, you cannot count as remaining stationary. And this is very unfortunate for Argent Shroud, whose whole rule is that you count as remaining stationary. So there's been a little bit of a debate in the Sisters community, and a lot of people really want to think that that is meant for if you like disembark and then don't move, you don't count as remaining stationary. But but the rule says that you never count as remaining stationary, so it may muck up Argent Shroud pretty hard, to be honest, because they can't get out of a Rhino and advance and shoot.
Which is part of their mobility.
Which is literally that's their whole thing. Because if I'm starting on the ground and I'm there for the command phase, I would frankly rather be a different chapter or order than Argent Shroud. But they're good in that context because they don't need command phase buffs because they're still efficient at shooting. So I actually went to set this off to some of the FAQ teams. I sent it to Frontline Gaming for the Lone Star because they have a submission document for questions for the Lone Star Open. So I'm hoping to get an answer before Lister do there. We actually haven't decided how we were going to play it for tomorrow, but I think the rules as written is definitely that it can't count as stationary. Even
just
the rules as written, like the way they wrote it makes me think they wanted it to say something else, but I just don't think they were considering the implications when they wrote it, because that's not what it says. So
yeah, I'm sure Argent Shroud was not written at the time.
Yeah, I mean it was probably written much after the transport rules, but yeah, right now if that's the case, and definitely
maybe
it's
it's a
something
good
I kind
opportunity
of have to ask.
to try a different list out.
Yeah, that is true, but
Different
I have to write a different list.
Weren't you really excited about Sacred Rose or Sacred?
I may switch to a Sacred Rose list tomorrow.
Sacred Rose or Sacred Heart?
Sacred Rose.
Okay.
Yeah, there's multiple roses
Yeah.
and multiple. There's Bloody
Bloody
Rose, Sacred Rose. There's Valorous Heart, and then the Order of the Martyred Lady used to be of the Blazing Heart. However, then their matriarch died, and they decided to martyr her, instead of sticking with the old name. Yeah, that's kind of a bit of a knock for the Argent Shroud list. So I emailed a couple TOs for events that I'm planning to go to in the future, because it's definitely very reasonable to read that as you can't count as stationary if you get out of a vehicle, even if you have a rule that says otherwise. So we'll see what they say, but I may have to start coming up with some contingency plans for Yield Sisters. But yeah, I think Sacred Rose would then be the next one to try out.
If you want to post Manny's list, feel free to do so. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
What choices that he made.
I think he actually had a few Cerberus Raiders.
What are you hoping they do to Grey Knights? Damage 2 Stormbolters like Sisters? I could see Cybolt being built in.
That's actually I'm expecting their Stormbolters to be Strength 5, AP dash damage 1.
Strength 5?
Just Strength 5. Because they're building in different buffs to everyone when they get their faction-specific version of a weapon. So Sisters Stormbolters are damage 2. But, Admech Stubbers are 4 shots, whereas everyone else is or no, that was just the Cognis Stubber, wasn't it?
Just the Cognis.
I guess Space Marines have the Cognis Stubber too, because Invictors have it.
What I'm nervous about is that Grey Knight's damage buffs only go against demons. That would be the worst case scenario. Where they're like, okay,
I have no idea what
damage
they're going to do with this book.
I hope they don't go, or just
too heavy into
anti-demon stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Deathwatch I think had the right balance where they have a good amount of anti-Xeno stuff, but a lot of their
main rule,
work on other things.
Like I'm okay with some of the secondaries interacting with just demons.
At least one is going to involve demons, guaranteed,
for sure,
and that's okay. I think they're going to give you probably 4 secondaries. I'm gonna bet 2 of them are psychic secondaries. One of them is anti-demons, and one of them is about something else, that kind of fits Grey Knights, like defending, murdering your allies. Like for every non-Grey Knight unit that gets destroyed, you lose 2 points or something. I'm joking, by the way. That's probably not the case, but stupid Grey Knights.
Well, you pass an action and then you get to target your allies.
No.
Oh, this lovely Inquisitor over here, gone. You've seen too much. All these guardsmen, pick them up.
That would make me so sad.
Admech FAQ Sister still immune to damage 1 on Celestine and Paragons.
I mean,
Paragon's still 240 points a model.
Yeah.
You don't wanna see that.
I mean, I imagine we've got a couple weeks before the Sisters FAQ drops. It seems that it's taking them about a month, give or take, to FAQ a codex right now, and that's for that first draft FAQ. And then balance comes out a little bit afterwards if it is deemed necessary by the powers that be. I don't know. Sisters have a couple things, because they have a lot of really complex rules interactions. They have a couple things that I would love to see FAQ'd.
Anything you think is pressing besides those two?
The ones we've talked about, and then I really want them to give an FAQ on the Ebon Chalice ability, because you have to discard Miracle Ice to unlock one as a 6, and what Miracle Ice can be discarded. Like, can you discard the Beacon of Faith Warlord trait dice? Because if you can, that actually becomes kind of cool. Because you just kind of get a 6 a turn at that point. Also, the Order Martyred Lady Warlord trait, which I think is that anytime you lose a character, it's a Warlord trait where anytime the Warlord destroys an enemy unit, you get a 6 on the Miracle Ice automatically. And then anytime Sacrifice is triggered, you get a 6 on the Miracle Ice. But it's not when Sacrifice, which is or Martyrdom, I think, whatever it's called, where you lose a character, you get a Miracle Ice. But it doesn't save for that character. So theoretically, if you have this Warlord trait and any of your characters die, you get a 6 Miracle Ice. Which may very well be intended. Because, just the whole army is inspired by the martyrdom of all these characters just jumping into the fray.
Just throw them into the
100%. We're taking Order Martyr Lady of Magifire just because I haven't painted it, and she is going straight into Mortarion turn 1. Like, scout the Dominion up, get her out, Miracle Ice the charge, she's in. She is dead. And that's just going to have to be okay.
I'm going to take my invuln.
Yeah, I'm going to take my 6 up invuln
Sure
real
it
quick.
happens.
And, yep, look at that. She dead. I just think that'd be hilarious.
Still going pure demons. Waste on the new GK players. Don't even need 9th edition Death Guard. I'm curious to see what demons should get a lot of stuff. Honestly,
Demons
their book
feel like they're going to really benefit from a faction redesign.
Yeah,
because
they need it.
Quite a few of the armies that have come out, even Sisters, which surprised me because Sisters had a relatively recent book, got a very sweeping faction redesign.
Yep.
And I think Demons are an army that needs it because they have such a cool design space, right? Like, Demons are a very flavorful faction. They could do a lot of things.
Yep.
Right now, if you were to combine Demons and Tyranids, you would have one functioning faction. So I'm hoping both of those armies get a lot of love.
Yeah, I feel like them Tyranids.
Demons are iconic. Gene Circle, God help me.
Them Tyranids and Tau, I think, are the ones that are going to change the most.
Yeah.
I just cannot see Tau remaining the same
They
way.
can't.
No.
I mean, I get it. You found a loophole. You found one way to make them kind of work, but like that is literally it's literally this may be the only thing they have.
But they in their codex FAQ, they had to get like. They're just gonna keep 8th edition Overwatch for now, okay, guys? Just play with it for now. So I expect them to get a complete overhaul, which I'm excited about because honestly, the Farsight Enclave's playstyle is awesome, but the old 8th edition playstyle was not the biggest fan of.
Yeah,
it just worked.
I appreciate Enclaves because they're more aggressive, and
John gets hyped when the Crisis unit goes in and just picks up stuff.
I get excited for close combat. All forms of close combat. Tau are no exception. I'll give him that. And that's why I respect Farsight. He has a sword. He killed Fate Weaver.
He killed Fate Weaver. He killed Fate Weaver.
Yep. So I get excited for that.
He'll kill quite a few things. He killed some succubi. He killed some witches.
Good for Farsight.
Yeah.
Good for him, buddy.
A very aggressive person. Oh, he finished off Grotesques in combat. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Question for John: White Scars, Hellblasters, Devastators, Eradicators, Plasma Inceptors, or Attack Bikes? John went with, at the very beginning of this, he said the Devastators.
Devastators would be my first choice. Hellblasters would be my second. Inceptors my third. Eradicators my fourth. Attack Bikes my fifth.
Really?
Yep. That's the pecking order. Hellblasters have some appeal. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, there was
ACO
that was just killing it with Hellblasters.
Yeah, I actually scooped up a box of them already. It's in the Closet of Shame, so we'll get there. It's not first on the paint table, to be honest. I'm going to try to finish up the Sisters collection before we go into Hellblasters.
Hellblasters and Storm Speeders.
So yeah, I want to paint those, but I'm trying to finish up all the new Sisters models first. So maybe next month paint stream, I'll be painting Hellblasters, Nick will be painting Orcs. because he'll probably be painting up that were boy character thing.
He's gonna have to.
And some dudes riding squigs. Beast Snaggas.
Beast.
Nick's extremely excited about squigs.
I hope Makari gets some silly rolls.
You know what? Don't we all, right? He deserves it.
How many points is he?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about Makari. Like, not a single thing.
I just know he killed Abaddon in combat. So.
That's true. I know that on a 6 to wound, he does mortals or something.
D3 mortals.
Yep. And then I know that he's an aura of 6 up Feel No Pain. But, like, only for Grots or something.
He's lucky.
He's lucky. He carries the lucky stick.
$5 super chat from Matt. Oh, why Sacred Rose over Armored Lady? Armored Lady seems to get more reliable miracle dice, have a better add-on ability with the +1 to hit, just the exploding 6s.
The exploding 6s is really nice, and also from an allied perspective, I feel like Order Martyred Lady is a little bit worse. I think you're right. I'd actually rather do Martyred Lady than Sacred Rose right now. But when you have a lot of your, especially your disposal units be Bloody Rose, those are some of the things that get killed, and then you don't get any miracle dice that way. Where Order Martyred Lady has a cap of however many units you take. And that could be better than Sacred Rose. And again, I think if I were doing pure, I would rather do Martyred Lady than Sacred Rose, even before we account for a supplement. But if we're talking like there's just, 2 rhinos full of girls, and that's my allied detachment, I think Sacred Rose is a little more reliable, because then I can kind of choose to put all the miracle dice there, and then I get the same generation, whereas Martyred Lady, I can't choose to only lose those models. If I could, I would do it. Also, no one leaves Retributors alive. I've been trying. Actually, no, you know what? Richard left 2 different Retributor squads at one model, which...
It wasn't for lack of trying, though.
It wasn't. It was still agonizing, though, just to be clear. I was not a fan of anything that happened. I think Martyred Lady is really interesting. Quite frankly, one of the main reasons I'm not even considering them right now is because I know they're about to get new stuff. So any practice games I did with Martyred Lady right now would feel kind of wasted. Because, like, I'm going to need to practice again when they have an entire codex supplement. So, Martyred Lady's on standby, but I'm definitely going to want to play with them as soon as they get new rules, just to explore more sister styles. Because I haven't really found anything with sisters that I'm 100% comfortable with yet, even though there's a lot of individual elements that I'm fond of.
Yeah, they have so many moving parts.
There's a ton of sisters are a very complex army with a ton of moving parts. And I think it's just going to take a while to solve that army. But I'm okay with that. It's a very interesting challenge.
Let's see. How are Taraxi now after the booster nerf strat? The booster thrust
I
nerf?
think they're fine. It's just that it's a fine unit and a great codex.
Its main thing is now just if you want to take a cheap 5-man for mission playing stuff, especially if you're not taking Lucius, so you don't have the 1 CP, just throw something into reserve. I can see taking 5, but I wouldn't take them for damage. Their damage wasn't great already.
Yeah.
What was good about it was you just get to pick something up or damage it and then leave. Now,
You actually have to stick around for the blowback.
You're not trading this unit. It's a lot of points. 190 points is a lot.
Yeah. I think Taraxi are not going to make the top tier lists, quite frankly. Which is fine. AdMech had a ton of good stuff, so from an AdMech perspective, it's just next man up. And the next man up is still going to be a really good unit one way or another.
Yep. How does that make it past playtesting, though? Like, come on.
I don't know.
You just can't interact with it. What?
Yeah, unfortunately we're not part of that process, so I have absolutely no idea. But that's okay. They fixed it, relatively reasonable timing rate. And yeah, I think we all knew that Taraxi were not going to last forever, so we already saw you not even using them in the later games once we determined, like, yep, if this is allowed, it's automatic. We no longer need to test this to know that.
Exactly, yeah. I played it 4 times, and it was amazing every time, because people run out of screens.
Yeah.
And they just get to make charges and do all sorts of stuff, so... Glad that they fixed that. Rumors about a potato photo with either Plastic, Deathcore, Krieg, or Steel Legion. Thoughts on this, or what the Guard need in a new book?
I am curious where this potato photo is, because I would be very willing to look at it, because I love
Guard. If you tell us where the potato photo is, we'll go look it up.
Give us a website, Even if it's spiky bits, I will.
We don't have any contractual obligation with G-Dubs. We can look at
We can
all sorts of stuff on here and talk about it.
literally, yeah.
We do.
So, what I have, you know what, this is actually interesting, and I'm surprised that I didn't see this earlier. There were some leaked photos recently of a Horus Heresy box set.
Really?
Which has, if the pictures are accurate, and it's possible this is an extremely elaborate fake, but there were a couple of sculpts in there that don't resemble anything currently available, where it looks like it has a plastic contemptor with autocannon, fist, and a cyclone missile launcher. And then it has a bunch of Mark VI Space Marines, which are very cool looking. I'm totally okay with that. Looked like it had some alternate sculpt Cataphracti Terminators. And then it had what appears to be a plastic Land Raider Spartan. And I'm going to be honest with you. I want that. Here's a fun trivia fact.
What the heck does a Land Raider Spartan do?
It's like a Land Raider that is a little bit tougher, has twice the las cannons. That's actually what it does.
How many
But that'd be
points?
so cool. I have no idea. What are you talking about there? I don't know what a Land Raider Spartan does. However, across the entire scope of me playing Warhammer for the past over 13 years, I have never owned a plastic Land Raider.
Really?
I've never owned a Land Raider.
I've owned a lot of them.
And I would love to, because Land Raider is iconic. It's such a cool model. However, I'm a relatively recent convert to Marines. I really only started in 8th edition after the Primaris wave had already been released. So I don't own a lot of the old classic manlet stuff. Like, I don't own any Vindicators. I don't own any Predators. I don't have any Land Raiders. And quite frankly, for the purposes of chasing the meta, that's worked out pretty well. But from a completionist standpoint, I would like a Land Raider. Like a Land Raider full of Terminators. Like, that's just such...
I used to run that in 3rd edition.
I know, that is vintage 40k. Like, if we do an Apocalypse game, I would love to put 10 Terminators inside a Land Raider, a Spartan, and just throw it at Nick. Actually, the model. I would throw the model at
Play it
Nick.
as Grey Knight so you can Gate of Infinity it.
Yeah, see, that's what you want. Alright. Did any indication on where
What's wrong with Spiky Bits?
um
Tell us where these potato photos are.
please, I would love to see him.
Hey John, were you disappointed that the next White Dwarf has a Tyranid cover but 0 Tyranid rules?
Nope. Because I already know. You know what? Tyranids and James Thorcolt are on so many covers. So many White Dwarf covers have the armies I love on them.
John just knows they're not gonna
I know what's happening here.
Gotta be at the end.
Yeah. Now, theoretically, Tyranids in a campaign book. The prospect of that has me a little excited. But like a White Dwarf unheralded giving me new Tyranid rules, I'm not good enough for that. Like what?
That's a Space Marine chapter.
That's a
I've never
Space
heard
Marine
of.
privilege. Like, yeah, that's Dark Krakens. Like, come on. But like Tyranids, no way. No way. The GW will not disappoint me without making me spend money first. I know how this goes. And then they will. Oh yes, they will. That's alright. We'll it'll be okay. I really truly hope that this somehow leads to Tyranids getting new rules in the next 6 months. I don't care if it's a codex. Actually, I'd prefer a codex. A campaign supplement, something.
It feels like they're putting the campaign supplements out though when your codex is nearby.
That's true, but then like Knights happened.
That's true.
But like Admech,
I forgot Knights had us.
yeah, didn't we all, buddy? Didn't we all? That's fair though. So like the first campaign book was Knights, Admech, and Dark Eldar. 2 of those 3 got it was just them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 of those 3
Death
got
Guard.
a codex. Death Guard. So
Don't
3 of
forget
those
Death
4 had a new codex right before or after.
Yeah.
This next campaign book is Chaos Space Marines, Sisters, Admech, and like Be'lakor.
Yeah.
So I think Be'lakor is also Chaos Space Marines though. So now it's 2 out of 3 are new codexes. So here's what's gonna happen. This is a complete off-the-wall prediction that I don't actually know. I'm not a playtester. New book, Octarius Boogaloo. It's the name.
Octarius to Electric Boogaloo.
Octarius to Electric Boogaloo. Mike Brandt told me this. I'm kidding. So it's gonna be orcs. It's Codex Supplement Beast Snagas. You can put your squigs on a squig. Tyranids. High Fleet Leviathan gets a 6-up invuln if it's within 3/4 of an inch of a blue painted Tyranid synapse creature that doesn't have a warlord trait or a relic. And then Imperial Guard, Death Corps of Krieg, las guns are AP3, reroll all wounds when targeting Skitarii. That's what's gonna happen.
Perfect.
Yep. The invuln is only on Fridays though. just to be clear. It's gonna be one of those. I still love that part about Tyranids. It's like Admech gets like you can reroll 1 hit and 1 wound and 1 damage. You know, Lucky Skulls, whatever, Death Skulls get the exact same thing. Tyranids, you can reroll 1 hit roll on a monster if you stayed stationary and or within 6 inches of a synapse creature. It's like, holy God. Like, what?
We can't allow this to be too
Like,
broken.
what are we doing over here?
We can't
Like,
be too
Tyranids
broken.
could just get Master Artisans. Tacked on, not a faction bonus. This is just what Tyranids have, and no one would even blink. Like, come on, let me have some nice things here, GW. Please.
It would have been broken.
You never know, right?
The stuff they get nervous about is just very funny to me.
And the stuff that they don't get nervous about, it's like, yep, put this in the wild.
There's a unit you can't interact with that scores secondary points before it goes back in reserve.
Heck yeah, put me in, coach.
Done. Let's try this out.
We'll just see what happens.
Oh, it's broken?
Oh, Matthew Nurgle, what is happening? Holy goodness! Nurgle Matt, you absolute hero. You mad lad. What are you doing in the chat?
He wants to be top donor again.
Absolutely, he
Nurgle
does.
Matt, when he decides what he wants to do, it just happens. That's the gift of Nurgle. I'm going to slip you this Nurgle blessing, jokingly paying you off to keep me posted on what Mr. Bradchester may bring to any early in October GTs. Kidding, though. Got to keep it secret until lists are posted.
No, I'm going to call Brad and just like pick his brain. I will feed this information directly to you. Just to you.
Whenever we know what Brad is going to be running, we will
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I'll spill the beans. I have literally, I will be a spy. 100%. Let's do it. I'm in.
Can't find the potato photo right now, but Varric has a video about the rumors about Plastic Creed Kill Team, which might be previewed on Saturday. Everything with a pinch of salt.
You know what? I would literally love to see that. Just give me a box of 10 guardsmen with weapon options and new sculpt. I don't care what chapter they are. I don't care what regiment they are. It can be Cadian.
Can
it
they
can
have
be
horses?
Catachan. I would prefer gas masks if I'm being honest. Gas masks are the coolest guardsmen. But if they give me plastic Death Corps of Krieg infantry, I will go get 10 boxes and repaint my tanks. I will not blink, hesitate, or have any regrets. I want great coat guardsmen with gas masks.
All right, don't let us down, Games Workshop.
Yeah, like give me. If it's a kill team box, I will not buy 10 kill team boxes. I'll wait until they get released individually because we know they will. But I'll get like a couple kill team boxes. What if it was? Oh man, what if it was a new Orc Boy kit versus a new Guard kit? Because they were talking about a new Orc Boy kit, right?
Yeah.
So there's a new Scarboy kit and a new Orc Boy kit, and the new Scarboy kit is going to be coming in that Orc box where I think it's going to be like the Sisters box, where they're going to give us like a box of just Orcs with like the new codex, and then like 2 months later they'll give us the real codex. Classic. But then they'll wait to FAQ it until the real codex comes out, so we have 3 months of the book without FAQs.
I remember that with the Palatine had something, right?
No, but that was a different situation. That was but the 8th edition codex. So you could buy it in the Sisters box set, and it was a limited
I
edition
remember that.
version.
Yeah.
And this came out in November, and then the real codex came out in January, and it wasn't like they didn't FAQ it until February. And it's just like there was 3 months of Sisters with like all their wonky numerical dice rules where they just didn't get an FAQ because the
I
codex
remember the
wasn't
LVO
out.
one.
Yeah,
It had a giant FAQ.
yeah, there was a giant FAQ for Sisters for LVO. Fortunately, I wasn't really thinking about Sisters around the time of LVO because Iron Hands existed, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy a couple kits and we'll like get around to this later, which worked out well. OGW. OGW. Why do you do the things you do?
What's your favorite guard regiment?
My favorite guard regiment, lore-wise, probably it might be Krieg. It's either I think it's the Steel Legion. I really like the Steel Legion. Like just those classic. There's like some really classic art from like the 4th edition main rulebook, which is the first was when I got into the game. There are some great images there of like the Metal Steel Legion against orcs, and I loved that stuff.
Yarrick.
Yarrick, yeah, I have a Yarrick, a pewter one that I'm like the really old Yarrick from like 2nd or 3rd edition. I have one of those that I'm gonna paint up when the time is right. Might be Steel Legion. They're so cool looking. Catachans are good, but the models are just too goofy for me. Like there has to be a line. And
Mine's the Mordian Iron Guard.
I
always really liked
pretty dope.
their style.
Yeah, they have style.
They live on the night planet.
Mordian definitely has style, no argument there. I think Catachan with an updated sculpt might be my favorite. Because the Catachan characters that they've released are really good looking.
Yeah.
And like if the entire line looked like that, I think it would be Catachan.
Yeah.
However, the entire line does not look like that.
Nope.
So I'm gonna give I think I'm gonna give Steel Legion the nod there. So if they did Plastic Creek, I may paint them up as Steel Legion, if I'm being honest.
$5 super chat from Matt. Oh, thank you so much, Matt. Tyranids get double shooting Chronos. Hive Guard, the most annoying unit in the game. They deserve anything bad that happens to them.
That's the most... Who said that? Matt O? Matt O, have you played a game in the last 4 months? To be clear, any game, not even Warhammer 40k. Have you played a game of chess in the last 4 months? If you tried to play a game of chess right now, a brick of Lucius Rangers would teleport onto the board and take away your queen. Ridiculous.
When you ignore AP 1 and 2 in chess and have transhuman,
Exactly.
unbeatable.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter where your queen can move.
Yeah, only you need a wound roll of 4+. Well, the pawns didn't roll the wound, so I guess they can't kill any rangers. Done. Ridiculous.
Hive Guard are solid.
Hive Guard are very good, but they are propping up a faction by
Their
themselves.
command point sink, and
They're not even
still pretty pricey.
And
on terrain, when on boards that there's not a lot of terrain in your deployment zone, it's not that easy to use them.
Yeah, sometimes in Dawn of War, like they just get run down.
Or sweeping clear.
God help me.
Like, there's no terrain in the back of my deployment zone. This is brutal.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, I guess my Hive Guard are getting shot.
Cougars
Elysians were great. That's fair.
Elysians are cool.
Talorn's cool too. Talorn, I feel like the Talorn models never spoke to me though. They've got some good lore though. But also, I'm an Iron Warriors fanboy, so you know we remember Talorn.
Last 3 boxes of Sacrosanct just arrived. Well, John is on the Sacrosanct.
Heck yeah!
Right
I
now.
love Sacrosancts. They are beautiful models.
Mordian styles, the anachronistic line warfare, good times. Yeah, I love the old images of them in like the 3rd and 4th edition books, where they'd be like in front of a Gene Sealer army, just ready to gun them down.
Do you have your old 3rd edition rulebook?
I think it's not. I think I do still have it, but it's not here.
I still have my 4th edition rulebook here. It's right there.
I think I have the 3rd edition one.
That book I got on my 12th birthday. I'm old now.
Yeah.
I
have the old Space Hulk box set.
Getting old. Oh, the old Space Hulk box set?
Not the original one. The updated one that was...
Oh, like the Plastic Blood Angels verse? Yeah, that came out. That came out a good while ago.
Yeah, it came out a while ago.
I never played that one. That'd be fun.
Rumors in Thousand Sun subreddit codex release on the 14th of August. That would be right after the G-Dubs event.
That'd be cool.
I wonder if Grey Knights are before or after.
You know what?
I guess they're
I'm gonna bet the same time.
same time.
They announced them at the same time. Based on the points updates, I think we're assuming that there will be one new kit of a Thousand Sun character and nothing for Grey Knights. So if Grey Knights aren't getting a new kit, I don't think the codex has to be its own weekend.
Yeah. And
I think that Thousand Suns and Grey Knights are like different enough audiences that they would just release them at the same time. So if I'm gonna guess, literally no knowledge, I'm gonna say they're both released at the same time. And that'd be cool, you know, let's get them out. Let's get this Octarius stuff, let's get this Orc stuff, let's get 3 books closer to the new Tyranid Codex. There may still be 20 books between me and the new Tyranid Codex, but let's just get closer.
20 more supplements.
20 more supplements before the new Tyranid Codex. That's true. We do need... You know what? Dark Krakens are not enough. We need at least another Space Marine White Dwarf chapter before we get Tyranid rules.
At least they're consistent.
Let's get Codex Supplement Brazen Claws. An Iron Hand successor. We haven't had an Iron Hand successor in a while. Let's give them obscenely broken rolls. Let's bring the Iron Hand successors back, folks. It's been a couple months.
People were excited about Iron Hands.
I'm excited about Iron Hands. That's why I never met an Iron Hands player until last year. 2 years ago. Wow, COVID messed up my calendar there. Seriously, never met an Iron Hands player until like after that book came out. And then everyone had one.
You met several.
Then I met several at the same tournament. Just they were all waiting the whole time.
It's so bad when Marines get broken rules because it's just too easy for people to just switch.
Yeah, well, to be clear, I'm in favor of Marines not getting broken rules. I bought into them because they did, and now I live here, and now I don't want any more neighbors. Let's keep Marines in a perfectly normal state. I think right now Marines are in a great spot. I don't think they need any buffs at all. Hopefully these Dark Kraken rules are a cool side grade, Emperor Spears level, where it's like, yeah, a good player could 4-1 a tournament with these, but they're not insane or anything.
I hope we're good on broken rules for a while.
Yeah, well, that would be the goal, wouldn't it? Sorry, one day, no matter how hard they try, they will release an Eldar Codex.
That is true.
And whenever that happens, God help us all. Crimson Hunter can rotate 360 degrees at any point in its move, as many times as it wants, but must move at least 3 inches up to 70. It's like, all right, sure. Yeah, why not, right? Pulse Laser becomes heavy 4, because it's a Cognis Pulse Laser.
I can't wait to see what
Damage D3 plus 3. It's going to happen. What if they made the Hemlock? You know what? I hope the Hemlock gets the Riptide treat, the Yavara treatment. Just straight up make it damage 1. Like, get out of here. Wouldn't that be satisfying? Just straight up, it's a damage 1 flamer now.
I'd be fine with that.
I'd be fine with that. It still wouldn't even be terrible. Just get a little cheaper damage 1. Talk about annoying units. Hemlock was one of them. And the Hemlock was like spammable. Those were dark days. It was the darkest timeline.
Well, they were cheap, they cast a psychic power, and they had a good gun.
Mm-hmm.
And they were hard to kill.
Yeah.
I think everything at once.
That thing like came up and jinxed you, and you're like, dang it. Turn 1, great. Sorry, I'm glad that Jinx doesn't work on like Harlequins and Dark Elder anymore. That was bad.
Yeah.
I abused that, to be clear. That was bad.
Well, that was my introduction when I started in 8th again. I was playing against like 1,000,000 Dark Reapers plus
Jinx.
Plus Ynnari Reapers with Jinx.
Oh god, Ynnari Reapers, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you want to get back in the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard the 8th edition's pretty good. Nope. Honestly, we're lucky that you stuck around there. Can you imagine if Richard like started playing 8th edition after 17 years off, and he's like, "Wow, Ynnari Reapers, huh? Never heard of Ynnari. Is that a new craft world?" No, you just play twice as long as I do. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go play StarCraft, and then it just never happens.
We gotta have that Team Brohammer win though.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do it. It's destined.
How's the sisters coming along? Looking good.
Pretty well here. Got a nice highlight done on all the golds. So the gold's just about finished. I'm gonna finish up the gloves here, and then I'm gonna paint the halves of the halberds. I actually realized that I'm not gonna finish these today because I'm gonna do airbrush work on the blades of the halberds. So that won't happen on stream, but we're gonna see if we can tidy up some basing here. I'm putting some washes on because we're getting to the end of the stream, and I didn't want to start with that. Again, I just didn't feel right to do it without Nick here.
No. Only Nick will start a stream with some washing, and then there's no other hobbying going on for the next several hours.
It's a classic. I think we're going to dry brush a little bit of the base. Get that going.
So many little details on this Skitarii.
Yeah, Sisters and Admech are both... Sisters, Admech, and Genestealer Cult. The infantry models on those armies are insanely detailed.
Yeah.
I think Admech, you can get away with a little more because you can do the metal effect, but Genestealer Cult baseline infantry are the most difficult I've had to work with. And I love them, but
It's just time consuming.
it's a time-consuming army to paint, no question. So.
What's everybody working on in chat?
Yeah, people doing a little bit of hobby work, keeping up with us today.
I know somebody said that they just got more Sacrosanct in. So
Which is the right number, by the way. More Sacrosanct.
all of them.
Yeah, I mean, legally, I think you can only field 30, so I'm probably going to get that. Because, good golly, do I like girls with shields.
tough. They're bodyguards.
Yeah, they're tough bodyguards. They have awesome melee weapons. I was actually thinking about turning my 2x5 into a 10 brick. Making that a while we stand, we fight. Like, it's kind of tempting.
It's good for stringing out.
Exactly. And also gets to the point where you can, like, it can take one turn of shooting without immediately dying.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to take too much on it. And, you know, you don't want to stand in front of Admech because then it will die. But there are many armies that cannot just remove a 10 girl brick, whereas a 5-1 could kind of die.
Yeah.
So I've been... We're thinking about it.
Are they 75 points for the 5 girls?
It's 75 if you upgrade the sergeant, so you could a 10 brick would probably be 140 or 145 depending on if you buy that spear.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, I think I'd do 140. And just keep that as that's going to cost the same as my Retributor squads, very conveniently. And just know what I'm going to choose if I ever take while we stand. It's not the Retributors. Are those Skatara coming along?
Pretty good. I'm working on the bronze now. I'll throw a watch on them, and then I'll do the white on the cloaks.
Mm-hmm. What are you working on right now? Is this Rangers or Vanguard here?
These are Rangers.
Rangers? Okay, so we're just upping the number of Rangers here.
Some of them are mark built, and so they have Vanguard heads on them.
Do you have any extra Ranger heads to just pop those off and pop the Ranger heads on? Some hoods maybe?
I just don't care enough.
All right.
They have the galvanic rifle. That's good enough.
Good enough for me.
Let's see. Painting some Invictors, some Redemptors, the Ultramarines.
Who's painting Invictors and Redemptors?
Looks like it's John's coaching client, kind of. who almost certainly told him to build up all these dreadnoughts.
I probably mentioned it, yeah. Now that you say that, I think that came up in conversation.
Got a bunch of bits and green stuff to make a spawn or two. Chaos Spawn?
Chaos Spawn?
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
They're still not bad.
They're cheap.
Yeah, you can make -1 damage with Death Guard.
At least they're not silly like when the Psychic Awakening book came out.
Yeah, that I hated. I hated every part of that.
Get all your Chaos Spawn. This poorly written stratagem now makes them bananas.
Sorry, we're just going to make sure it doesn't work on Possessed. It's like, okay, but...
But, something got lost in translation. More plain Bolter Sisters. Painting a Harridan. Wow.
Harridan?
Wow.
I want a Harridan. See, I think a Harridan is much more achievable than a...
got in that hope job.
Yeah. If it worked in Dawn of War, I would have a Harridan in the mail right now.
I'm so glad that the Manta is actually hilariously not terrible.
Yeah, it was really not as bad as I was
It
expecting.
actually does a lot of damage. It has a lot of guns.
Come on. So here's the question. If we were to, I know it's out of stock, but if it came back in stock and we bought a Manta, do you think Nick would even notice it before the Apocalypse game if we literally never mentioned it to him?
If we just built it on the...
Yeah, we just do it on the hobby stream. We keep it in
He
here.
might not, honestly.
We paint it. If you wanted some help airbrushing, I would
definitely would
assist.
want help.
And then we just like bust it out for the Apocalypse game.
I honestly think he would not realize it.
Yeah,
Because it'd all be in pieces, and it's just stuff that we're working on.
exactly. All right, here's a question for me. Finishing my third ATV for fun. Thoughts about ATVs? Christian, I assume you're referring, of course, to Yield, the Invader ATV.
Yeah.
I still don't think they're bad. I don't think they're necessary. I think Dark Angels are still the best place to take them because you get that sweet invuln. And it's one of those chapters that is still considering an Apothecary, although an Apothecary for Invaders is not as necessary. Invaders aren't bad. Marines have 5 million data sheets, and it's just not the best one at its role, so I don't intend to run them myself anytime soon. But I think if I was taking Invader ATVs instead of another unit in the same role, like an Invader ATV is still a pretty good choice. Just the number of wounds and the fact that it can still heal 3 a turn, even though it can't stand up on death, is quite spicy for them. Ooh, one above all is converting a Broodlord into a Tyranid Prime. That's pretty nice. Tyranid Prime, what a data sheet that has some room for improvement. Like, you talk about stat changes coming for weapons. Tyranids don't have the same weapons as any other codex, so I understand. I understand they didn't get any changes when a lot of other armies did. However, if Tyranids get new data sheets, that Tyranid Prime He has to be good.
He's got a bone sword, right?
You cannot give him more than damage 1 in melee. You have to use like a relic or a toxin sax and roll a 6 to wound to get more than damage 1 in melee. And that is insulting. Because even the relics and stuff, most of them are like damage 1. Which is because they all have different names. Like you have a bone sword and you have a monstrous bone sword. And some of the good relics replace a monstrous bone sword, and the Tyranid Prime takes bone sword. And you're just like looking at this poor toughness 5 Space Marine captain who doesn't buff the army, is terrible in melee, and you're like, buddy, why are you here? No invuln. Seriously, take a Space Marine captain, replace reroll 1s with +1 to hit for warriors, not everything, warriors. Make him T5, take away that invuln. No Primaris, nothing else. He's less attacks. He doesn't get shock assault, and then you give him an old power sword. It's not mastercrafted. Just a guy. That's the Tyranid Prime right now.
How many points is he?
He's like 90, 800, depending.
He's 100 points.
I think he's like 90.
What?
He's very bad. Tell you what, moment of truth. Let's find out how much Tyranid Prime is right now. I'm willing to do this.
100 points?
I think you have to upgrade him for
insane.
100. I think you can make him 100, but I think his default is like 90.
That's still too high.
Oh yeah, he's insanely bad. Like people still take him because he does provide a nice buff for warriors, but he is not a useful fellow. Like there is no way to make this guy. Like
what about the Red Terror?
You know, the Red Terror is really cool. Every once in a while he swallows someone, but other than that, like he kind of sucks. But like the best case scenario is you get like 5 hits on 6 attacks, and that lets you have a decent chance of killing 1 model. But then if you like get 4 hits on 6 attacks or whatever the heck he does, then you're just slapping someone with a scything talon. It's like okay, this is really close to being cool. Like also like the literal best case scenario is he kills one model. All right, hold on. Tyranid Prime might be a little cheaper than I thought. Let's go here. All right, if you just take him with scything talons. So, oh no, yes. Can you do 2 scything talons? Yeah, he can. Okay. He is only 75 points if you take him with 2 scything talons.
Alright, that's reasonable.
It's not great. A captain's 80. He's 75.
That's the captain with trash war gear as well.
Yeah. If you take both as a trash war gear. Like, the captain does so much more.
He does more.
He has an invuln. He is better in combat. Because unlike chain swords and lightning claws, scything talons do not stack the attack buff. There is no reason for this at all. It's offensive.
I mean, it was written before Shock Assault.
Clown mode is in question. Blood Angels or Ultramarines for my Marines. I love the idea with playing with a Primarch, but those Blood Angel red is so good looking. All right, here's your answer. Clown mode. You play Ultramarine successors and you paint them red. Ultramarines account for about 60% of the chapters if you go through their successors. So there's guaranteed at least 1 red. Do the Sons of Orar. Or O-R-A-R. Sons of Orar. Play them. Paint them up that way. You're an Ultramarine successor. You could be played as Blood Angels without getting any questions. But yeah. Blood Angels, we talked about that 29% win rate earlier today. I would not recommend anyone play Blood Angels right now. However, Jack Harpster may have some ideas. He's going to be playing them on Thursday, so perhaps Jack can turn it around. He's worked a little bit of magic with Templars and Deathwatch. Maybe he's going to continue his streak with Blood Angels.
Yeah, I'll be impressed.
I'd be impressed too.
If he beats the Death Guard.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. So I'm rooting for him there. There is definitely favoritism right now. But I would definitely, from a rules perspective, Ultramarines, or more specifically, paint a successor chapter that could be played as Ultramarines. That is my vote 1,000% of the way. No questions in my mind. If you were you're painting Space Marines right now, paint a successor chapter that is not obvious who they are. I think Richard would agree on that, right?
Yeah, especially because Games Workshop is starting to get back into
Yep,
tournaments.
and you know, going to GW event is no longer a fantasy. That has literally never been an option. I think the last time GW had an event, It was a while ago. I think that was Hard Boys, and
John was actually still a Tyranid player at that point.
I was 100% a Tyranid player because I was in high school at the time. This was a very long time ago.
Yeah, clown mode. This in Goonhammer's meta watch for the previous month, Blood Angels had a 29% win rate.
That
Tells you enough about that faction.
yeah, that is not. I was not expecting it to be that bad.
No, that's abysmal.
That is. We should have we were wrong with our tier ranking. That's F tier right there. 29% is F tier. I think Corn Demons are better than 29%. Right?
I mean,
Corn Demons.
Nobody also isn't.
No one's playing pure Corn Demons, but
Maybe Horde still is. Oh, he wasn't. He was playing the Demon Engines too.
Yeah.
But he tried.
Bless him.
How are Custodes holding up with the new codexes? They're still decent.
They're hanging on.
They're hanging on because of that Psyche Awakening book. So they have really good defensive strats.
And then
updated
updated data sheets helped a lot. They got a tell them on Nerf for reasons that no one has been able to tell me.
Yeah, that was sad.
That was unnecessary roughness in my opinion, but
at least wait till they get something else.
Yeah.
They're completely propped up by Forge World though. So if you're not a big fan of Forge World, Custodes are a really hard army to play.
Yeah, someone was asking me. They're like, "Yeah, I'm going to a local tournament soon," and they're like, "Oh, but it's not allowing Forge World." I'm like, "Oh, that's really weird. What armies do you play?" And they're like, "I play Tyranids and Custodes." I'm like, "Don't go. Literally, do not show up to this event. Save your money. Drive somewhere else. Beat your head in with a rock. Anything else."
The two armies that were
the two army. I could not make this up. Yeah, play Tyranids and Custodes. I'm like what? And this just happened. They just happened. Did you beat the TO or something at an event? What is happening here?
Honestly, that number seems extraordinarily low. Let's go look at it. Let's go onto Goonhammer.
I wonder how many games. What's the sample size here? Because the other thing is, I could see a lot of players who play Blood Angels and choosing the and right now.
July meta review. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Faction GT win rates pre and post June FAQs. Where's Blood Angels? Blood Angels previous, so out of pre FAQ, this is the points FAQ. 271 games, they were at a 43.5% win rate.
All right, that sounds about what I would have expected.
Post FAQ, which is about a month.
Yeah,
about a month. 106 games, they're at a 29.2% win rate. That's brutal.
I think it's that a lot of Blood Angels. I mean, so you see a lot less games.
John, without looking, does GSC have a higher or lower win rate? Oh, God. In the post FAQ period.
I feel like it's lower. I'm gonna go ahead and say higher. And my gut's
slightly lower.
Slightly lower.
GSC are at 25.9%.
25.9?
Them and Blood Angels are by far the lowest.
What happened to Ultramarines? Control F Ultramarines.
Well, it's in this chart. Are they broken out? Don't think they're broken.
Why are Blood Angels broken out? Ultramarines aren't. They all have a supplement.
So Space Marines when
Death Watch went up 16%. Go me.
Yeah.
You're darn right they did.
Well, look, I think they have it in here. Where's Death Watch? There was a whole part on Death Watch. Maybe it wasn't in this one specifically. All right. What are the big ones? Jukari went down 2%. 67.
Chaos Space Marines went up 18%.
Oh yeah, they did.
What?
Yeah.
How?
It's that drop pod turn 1. Apparently, that's what they pinned it on. Was the Dreadclaw drop pod.
18%?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot more to go with, but
AdMech makes sense. Custodes also went 11.8% up.
How did
it... Demons also went 9.1, and Space Wolves 8.8.
I mean, Tau going up makes sense.
Tau going up did make sense.
Tyranids went down 3.5. Gene's Third Cult. It's so bad. Aeldari went down 19%. You know what? I'm okay with this. Holy goodness.
Yeah.
I feel like that 67% previous win rate was literally how often did Sean go to an event? And then Sean just been quiet for months, so the win rate went down.
Yeah.
Orcs down doesn't matter. Where are my Imperial Knights at? Where's the best army in the game?
Right here.
Okay.
Sitting about even.
Sitting about 46 point something to 46 point something, yeah. No complaints.
What is unknown? Oh, there's just all
Everyone
the
else?
that wasn't listed.
I guess they have it just because otherwise the win rate wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'd be like a net of 49% win rate, which
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
for the games of their sample size.
Yeah.
Not many Grey Knight games.
Which faction has the least amount of games? Genius Third Cult at 36?
Craft World Eldar.
No, Genius Third Cult is less. They have one less. Oh, Thousand Suns at 20. Ooh, alright, well, Thousand Suns deserve love, and I have no problem saying that, but they are about to get
I feel like that's justification for Thousand Suns just not to have a book. Not popular enough. Not loyal enough.
I mean, quite frankly, I still think that they should just have a Chaos Space Marine Codex, and then they should have a supplement.
Yeah.
The same way as Space Marines do. Give me 9 spin-off books. Why not, right? Milk that content, GW.
What's your take on the Caladius and Caladius on the current meta? I still like the Caladius strat a lot.
I like the Galus a lot. The Achilles has continued to get more popular, and I still like the Galus more.
Do you have known oil over there?
Almost certainly. Yes.
Thank you.
Ta-da! Shake it up.
Oil of known.
Oil of Gnome. It's very important. I like all the Custodes strats still. Even the Telemon, like, yeah, the points changes were like, why? But it wasn't enough to where if I wanted to take a Telemon, I'm no longer taking it.
Yeah, it's still fine.
Yeah. However, it is a point where I'm considering literally dusting off my Caladius tanks. Those have been in a box for a minute.
Yeah, they have.
They had a very brief run to glory, and now they're gone, and we're gonna have to go find them somewhere. They are definitely somewhere in the house.
Did they get triple nerfed?
No, they got a stat change and a points change. The stat change was like not great, but it was like not terrible. So the stat change was that they lost a point of strength, but they went from D3 damage to 2 damage.
Yeah.
So they weren't crazy good. And then they also went up in points, but then they went down in points. Twice, actually. And the second time was the point where it's like, I might actually take this tank again.
Is it what, 210 now?
Maybe it might be 215. Which is still like a little pricey, but it's a 14 wound tank with a 5 up animal. So it doesn't auto evaporate. It's pretty decent way to fire, depending on what loadouts you give it. It's definitely not like an auto take, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
I just, not having -1 damage right now feels like a death sentence because I watch how fast my -1 damage stuff dies. And I'm like, dude, anything else, like, I couldn't even dream of it.
Imagine this didn't have -1 damage.
Yeah.
Boom.
And also, only a 3 of armor is a big thing because there's a lot of AP 1 and 2 floating around right now because, like, Skitaria obviously is a big thing, but getting a 5 up versus a 4 up save is a huge difference. And then the Caladius Dread gets a 4 up in rolling with Last Chickens, like, it's tricky. What time? Yeah, I got time for a little bit of contrast on here. Let's get the halves of these.
It's 205. That's actually not bad.
Oh, it's 205. Okay, you know what? It's really not terrible at all. Matthew Nurgle just said John. I assume there's something else coming, but he just said John. Yep.
Just excited about John.
Aren't we all? Nurgle Matt, let me know what's on your mind. Is it the Emperor's Spirits? Is it the Dark Krakens? Nurgle Matt, if you see the Dark Kraken rules and you decide you want me to play Dark Krakens instead of Emperor's Spirit, let me know. I'm happy to do either. The Dark Kraken is so cool. I'm gonna paint up a Dark Kraken for my Death Watch.
It's like cool.
That's a good looking scheme. Purple, there's not a lot of purple Marines. Nurgle Matt says his buddy is still wrecking it with 2 Caladius. Yeah, the Caladius is 205 is very reasonable, actually. I can see it. Perhaps it is time to paint up those Caladius more than maybe it's time to add the 4th color to them.
They were 3 colors.
They were 3 colors on the dot, and that was enough, and it worked. But perhaps, you know what? I have an airbrush now. We're raising the hobby standards here at the Art of War. Maybe it's time to add that 4th color to yield Caladius tanks.
About the Orion.
Don't give me hope. You know, if the Orion was playable, I would be so about it. I love that.
Is it like 500 points?
It's no, it's like 400 something. It's like 440. It's honestly not terrible. It's the Dawn of War problem.
Yeah.
Where like there is no scenario where I'm spending 4 CP to reserve an Orion, but like I don't want to take it if it can't do anything. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer on that one. I think GW is going to leave that in though, just as like their kind of middle finger to big things. That GW likes to make big toys, but I don't think they actually want us to use them.
Will we make the Silent King usable? He is usable. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just if you want to win a tournament, I don't think you take the Silent King. I think honestly, it's once again those weapon profiles. The damage of these anti-tank guns has gone up tremendously, and now fail to save, potentially a Meneer's just gone. Another Meneer's gone, and then Silent King only has 16 wounds for a pinball. Like he's not -1 damage, he's not permanent transhuman or anything like that. He's not half damage like Fall. There's no bodyguard.
16 wounds is enough that you don't need half damage.
Yeah, but he's targetable.
Yeah, that's true.
That's that's a huge difference.
That's what you get for being a Xenos.
So, I think it's just the game has just ridiculous damage output now. And
That is, yeah.
he used to be able to stand out for a turn, and then you have all the warriors out there, so they have to commit to kill the warriors. Now your opponent's just anti-tank and pick up the Silent King, and they have tons of guns to spare.
Yeah. The last couple of times I've played Necrons, the Silent King has died the literal second I decided I wanted it. Like, the absolute second I saw the Silent King, it was like, now is the time I want it. He was gone. Meneers and all, the whole thing disappeared in one turn. It's like the last 3 times I've played Necrons, I think that's happened. Where I just took him from full to 0 with 1 turn of focus.
Yeah, and I don't think his efficiency buffs help enough, because the Necron shooting isn't great in the meta right now.
Yeah. It'd be cool if the Silent King wasn't core locked, because he's the Silent King.
Yeah, he should buff everything.
Yeah.
That would make destroyers more interesting, but they're still overpriced.
I'm also thinking of like all your different vehicles.
Yeah.
Although from a cost perspective, adding an arcing lot is difficult.
The Silent King.
That doesn't really work, I think. But
yeah.
It'd be cool if there were, rules reasons to try.
Once again, it's early codex syndrome. He's like one of the first big new things, and they just tried to price him and the Catan as high as possible. They didn't want them.
Looking at these new HQs though, you know what I'm so excited for? Guilliman. It's gonna be a while still. I don't think they're gonna update the new Space Marine supplements for a bit, but like they're going to. And when they do,
Gilman could get the biker keyword too. Like the server.
Yeah. That is still one of my favorite things.
Biker baby.
Yeah, we're gonna make him a biker that ignores terrain. It's like, so like an infantry, yeah.
But biker.
But infantry take a heavy penalty, so we're gonna give them a rule to ignore the heavy penalty. But they're also a biker, right? Yeah. It's like, what is happening here? Fortunately, Richard's disdain for servitors has paid off.
Yeah.
Turns out he was right all along.
Thankfully. I did not want to be able to paint all those guys.
I wanted that to happen. I was buying you servitors so that you had to do it, and then you got off scot-free.
Yep.
I was like using price sport, like getting extra cataphrons, like, Richard, you're gonna have to do it eventually. And he's like, I'm gonna procrastinate.
Yep.
And it's like, joke's on you, 120 Skitarii new meta. I'm like, dang it. So those guys are just gonna live for a while.
They're gonna sit in our closet until there's a points update where they just happen to typo the cataphrons down a lot.
I mean, what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a regiment of renown that like accidentally works on them. Like it's gonna be like a Skitarii Vanguard detachment, but it happens to work on everything in it, not just Skitarii. You're just gonna like slide those cataphrons in, like, hey, look at that, they get core now, and all hell will break loose.
How cool would the lion be on the table? Do you guys think they might bring him back? I feel like eventually.
Yeah, the lion has to be the next Primarch, and I say that as if I have any control over the subject matter because I don't. But like the lion's got to be coming, right? Like
There hasn't
he's
been a
literally like the end of 7th edition lore, like Asriel like goes down to the rock, and like there's literal lore of like the Watchers walking in to the lion's chamber with the purpose of waking him up that came out like 5 years ago. And then GW was like, and now we wait. It's like, dang it. Like somehow like the line being and Rust too. Like in the Book of Fenris, Logan Grimnar gets a vision where Rust talks to him. And that is older lore than Primaris existing. And here we are, like in lore, like 120 years later, nothing. So I don't know. I thought we were gonna get one in ninth, and we haven't yet. And we probably still will before ninth is over. But I am surprised that they haven't brought us a Primarch yet.
Do you think we'll see another Chaos one before the next Loyalist?
Honestly, yes. I thought they were gonna alternate, but right now I'm thinking they're gonna do either Angron or Fulgrim, because Angron's just back. Like Angron is physically on Armageddon killing people right now. Angron is already back, and they just haven't released a model or given him rules. They probably won't for a while, but yeah, bring back some Primarchs. Bring back Khan.
Yeah, we did indeed see that AdMech FAQ. All pretty reasonable changes, honestly. Yep. I did not expect there to be really anything.
No one was expecting nerfs, I think. After Drukhari, I think we all were like, okay, we know what this FAQ is going to be. And it met expectations perfectly without attempting to exceed them. And that's fine. Just that if AdMech does what a lot of people think AdMech do, and if this is reflected in tournaments over the next month, then it will be a case of like, okay, let's GW please do. And I frankly expect they will, for the record. If I were making predictions, I would say that AdMech are gonna be the winningest army for the next month of events.
I think Drukhari will still have a higher win percentage.
I actually made a bet with Brad about this. I think that Drukhari are not going to get as many podiums, but I think AdMech will get the most podiums, but will only have the second highest win rate. I think Drukhari will have a better win rate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that from a purely winning tournament perspective, I think AdMech's the best army in the game. Which, a point that Richard beat into me brutally. But I learned. Like, I played twice into AdMech, and both were games where, like, I never really had it go against me. And then, like, the one time something went even remotely against me, and I just got put down. I was like, wow, okay. I feel like a horse without knees. It's like, okay. Like, this is what can happen. Got it.
Sometimes there's games where you lose, and you're just like, yeah, I could have done this, and this. And
I mean, I still could have played better.
Yeah, you could have played better.
I was not getting that within 30 points.
It was just like, oh my god, this army does a lot.
Yeah, AdMech does a lot. New 11.
This army is an army that has tools.
So excited for that Skitarii Vanguard.
I can't wait. Like, what could possibly be in there?
Pain. Pain.
What is in there?
It's buff for Skitarii. If you take all Skitarii and also Manipulus, then you get to kill people. And that is what's going to happen.
I wonder if it will have that restriction where you can't take the tech grease. You have to take.
I bet you could take the HQs. Because it wouldn't be broken if you couldn't. Like, if you're exchanging Manipulus and Dominus buffs, most of Manipulus, for something else, so be it. But, like, that's not what they're going to do. Who are we getting here?
That could be the saving grace.
That would be a saving grace right there.
Because honestly, I don't really want to give up Logi or Artisans.
No, those are great. So I don't blame you. I'm very nervously excited to find out. Emphasis on nervous.
Give me another great story of 113 Grey Knight Terminators beating Angron's face on Armageddon.
You know what? Absolutely. Why are we still doing these random worlds when Armageddon is happening? Like, come on. Give Plastic Steel Legion, Plastic Angron, new Grey Knight Codex. Let's go. Let's do that, GW. And also, for some reason, there's a Genius Killer Cult there, and they get a new Codex, please. Is that too much to ask?
Is Angron just a giant bloodthirster?
Yeah, actually, that's he's a Khorne Demon Primarch, and Khorne's one characteristic is angry and red. So that's what he is. He is angry and red, and he has wings, and he probably has a big axe, because that's what Khorne does. What do you think of giving Imperial Knights the ability to hold objectives 6 inches out instead of 3 inches out on top of wounds-based OBSEC? You know what, Ben? I don't hate that. I actually don't. That's an interesting approach to it because I definitely need objective help. That is, that's not bad. Maybe make that like 1 CP. Right? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be.
Kind of help some of the terrain problems that Knights have. And yes, wound characteristic based OBSEC, I 100% think should be a thing. Or just like give it a flat number, like Armigers count as 5, Titanic counts as 10. Think that'd be a good number?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely
you need
something.
ways, and I would do that for a pure Knight's army.
Yes, yeah, I
That'd be
think
part of their pure buff.
absolutely. I think an allied knight should be a damage dealer roughly on par with what it is right now if you want that option. I think that pure knight should get mission and defensive buffs. I don't think their offense needs to go up at all because I don't want to get to a point where knights table everything again because that was very boring last time it happened. No one enjoyed the Castellan meta. Some people just sacrificed more or less dollars than the rest of us. That's like literally my 1 point of pride. Like, sure, I bought Iron Hands, but darn it, I never owned a Castellan.
What about the Valiant?
We're gonna bring him back.
Bring him back?
We're gonna bring him back.
Valiant's actually cool.
The Valiant's really
He has a harpoon.
He has a harpoon. My favorite 40k story that isn't mine is my buddy Matt, his teammate on Brohammer, once lost 2 Crimson Hunter Exarchs to a Valiant in one shooting phase because the harpoon scored the 6 to hit and killed it. Full health Crimson Hunter Exarch just went straight through, did 10 damage and the D3 mortal wounds, got like a 2 on a D3 and killed it. And then Matt did not know that Imperialis Knights could act on death, so he flew up to it and he killed it, and it killed 2 more planes because the harpoon rolled another 6 to hit and got another one down. Like, could you imagine the audacity of like, yeah, I'm gonna put the flamer and like the little stub guns, whatever, into this one plane, but the harpoon going off by itself over here. Oh, what's that? A 6 to hit? You're dead. Whole plane. Yeah, he lost that game because a Valiant ran forward and killed 4 planes. I'm like, holy, why can't that be me? like that's the Valiant I want to bring. Can you imagine just like going up there and killing 4 like Hemlocks and Crimson Hunters with a Valiant?
I applaud that knight.
Absolutely, for his heroism, his contributions to society. Like, what a knight right there.
Do knights really do damage these days, though? The Majeras do.
The Majeras do. Okay, yes, I think that regular knights should have their
stomp should not
data
be
sheets.
3 damage. What is going on?
Make the stomp flat 3. Just make the stomp flat 3. And then I think they should get stat buffs on the mid-sized knights. Just in tier with other damage increases that you've seen on Imperial weapons. Like make the thermal cannon D3 plus 3. Stuff like that. And half range D6 plus 3, whatever.
Admech can do a lot of damage to knights if they go first, but
if you kill them,
you're just accepting that.
Yeah, knights.
You're playing knights.
You're playing knights. I know what I'm doing. I know what I've signed up for. Knights feel like a team army, still.
Well, there's a major thunderstorm outside right now, and we've hit that 3 o'clock time zone.
We have.
So thank you everybody for joining us today. We have a lot of great content coming up this week. Coming up tomorrow in our stream game, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, it's going to be me playing the Grey Knights for the first time in a little while, and before they get that juicy new codex, hopefully soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be into John's Sisters of
Sisters
Battle.
of Battle. So these sisters I'm painting right now, they're going to be making an appearance, taking on the Sons of Titan. We're getting revenge for that one time the Grey Knights killed a bunch of sisters so they could be immune to blood or something. We're still mad about that, for the record, and we're taking it out right now.
And we're going to find out how devastating are those anti-psychic powers.
Yes.
Can I play right?
I keep taking them and playing against Drukhari and Admech. And now we're taking them against Grey Knights, but I've been taking them the whole time, so it doesn't count.
Yep.
All right.
And then on Wednesday, we of course got our Hangout and Hobby as well. And then Thursday, We've got a sweet matchup. Jack Harpsters bringing the Blood Angels out.
Yep.
Can he do better?
Then 29%.
Then 29% against Nick Nanavati's Death Guard. And then in the War Room, we've got a very exciting matchup. We've got Jukari, Nick playing the Jukari into my Admech. So top 2 books going head to head. See who's going to come out as the victor.
That's going to be good.
Yep. So join us this week for all the great content that we have, and really enjoy everybody's support. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Dive even deeper into competitive 40K and become a member of the world's most knowledgeable and positive community.
The War Room is an exclusive group that brings together the world's best 40K players as coaches to help anyone from a newer player to an experienced tournament veteran learn, grow, and reach their goals within our shared hobby.
Each week we offer a variety of live stream coaching matches centered around illuminating the thought process and in-game decision making of top players. We explain everything we're doing and why.
You'll learn about the ever-evolving meta, match play mission theory, list making, and discussion of every faction in the game, and have access to analysis of all the latest rules. Our team of highly experienced coaches teach weekly clinics on each individual faction, strategy sessions on deployment and cool tricks, and meta-analyses each week during Meta Monday.
We are committed to not only providing the best knowledge for players available, but also building a one-of-a-kind community.
Come be a part of the War Room.